Thank you for having me today. My name is Olivia Omer and I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior in high school. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at age 3, and since I've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroid disease and an ultra rare urticaria that is triggered by the sun. I'm also a straight A student, a state finalist in golf, and an all state academic awardee. I also plan on attending college in the fall and I've been accepted to every school that I've applied to. I also plan on continuing my golf career at the collegiate level. I think it's always important to know this stuff because kids like me are often the ones to strive beyond the medical diagnosis and become the best version of ourselves. And what helps is the ability to have the best medical technology and innovation available. With the world's best medicine, kids like me can achieve anything we set our minds to. When I was diagnosed at age 3, type 1 diabetes was a new concept for our family. While at the hospital, my parents researched better ways to get care from me. At the top of every list was a device known as an insulin pump. In 2006, this was still new technology, and while adult patients were given access to the technology, very few pediatric patients were, and especially not at age 3. My parents asked and were told they had to wait a minimum of 1 year before receiving a script for a pump. That did not sit well with my mom, and so she researched studies to show how care was better with technology. Just a few months after my diagnosis, our endocrinology team agreed and wrote a letter to help me receive my first pump. The letter had to override insurance requirements of collecting blood sugars to prove that I was unstable and that I needed it, which this continues to be a problem. Even in 2020, patients like me are told that their care must be horrible before they can get approval to receive new technology. I wore my first pump for 2 months, and then my parents discovered that there was a newer version out which had a remote that was involved. This was another issue. When technology advances, patients are often forced to wait. Insurance rules are sometimes 4 to 5 years before a patient can get a new medical device. If you think about this rule, it makes no sense. Cell phones advance every year, and at the most, people wait just 2 years before their contract is up. How can medical devices be held back for so long? Currently, I also wear a continuous glucose monitor that relays blood sugar information to both my insulin pump and my cell phone. A few years ago, I underwent an endoscopy, and my anesthesiologist was so impressed with my medical devices that he asked for instructions on how to use them before my procedure. In recovery, he came back to my bedside and explained that it was so helpful, and he was so excited to see my blood sugars in real time that he wished more parents had access to CGMs and pump care. Sadly, many kids like me have to wait for years to be able to get access, and there are still many physicians that are not aware of the technology that is available to patients. Sometimes I find myself being the expert in helping to share what I am using. Having a CGM is critically important to me as it allows me to have independence. I am able to manage my blood sugars through long golf tournaments or when I distance run. Next year, I am off to college, and the CGM will support me around the clock, especially when I am sick or sleeping, 2 times that are very vulnerable for patients like me. As newer technology advances, the need for kids like me will continue to grow. There are currently products being created that are implanted under the subcutaneous tissue that relay blood sugars, meaning that there is less need for pokes or skin irritation. There is also better products being developed that help release insulin, much like a real pancreas would do. I hope kids won't have to wait to receive the technology that will make a difference in their care or outlook on their medical condition. Next year, I will be studying engineering to help bring my ideas to a wider audience in hopes of improving care for all, because I know that we need more innovation to make childhood a little easier. Being a kid is the most important job for childhood.